Hi guys, my name is Han and normally I'm drifting through Tokyo with my Mazda RX-7. Let's go! So yeah, I'm not Han and I don't have snacks here, but what is this review about? It's about a limited edition mouse from Xtrfy, one of their, or basically I think the most sold or sold mouse they have. It's the Xtrfy M4 RGB mouse. They have it like in different variants, in like at 7 now with this limited one. It's a very widely and common used ergonomic M-sized shaped mouse. And I have to say I did not review one of them before. I only reviewed the TheWhale, so the MZ1, and I reviewed the M42, but I think I only did this review in German. So when Xtrfy announced that they're doing this Tokyo edition with a new paracord, I was interested in it because lately they had problems, or I saw problems with the paracord and how the stress relief is made on the MZ1, and that's why I was interested in the solution and what they've done or what they have evolved on this new limited edition with the new paracord, and I just wanted to see it. That's why I bought this one and that's why I'm doing this review for you. First, let's just come to the box outside. We start like always with the ground. That's the box. It has this Tokyo style. Here you see all those parts of Tokyo where are more machines for playing with coins than human, and basically they were influenced by the Japanese flag here on the front cover, and they just made here a little sticker, like it says it's in Sweden. It says the main feature is RGB, it's not gaming, main feature is RGB, guys. Keep this in mind please, and this one is a limited. The other side says that is an ultra light mouse with pro grade components and ergonomic right shaped. Yes, it's only ergonomic right shaped. If you seek for a mouse for left hand play, this will not fit you guys. I'm sorry for that. But basically the rest of the box just says in 24 different languages or something that this is an optical gaming mouse. Thanks. I don't like these balls back in the days. And I remember, by the way, we talked about Razer Boomslang, was awesome. So, but optical is way better. And then on the back side they have some facts, the same facts you can read on the website. It just says which sensor, and it's like the Pixar 3389 sensor, which is right now I think most assembled and leading 1000 Hertz non-wireless sensor. They have Omrons in it. I will talk about that later. They have this new paracord, 1.8 meter long Ease Pro paracord, which is I think already an evolution step of the last paracord on the MZ1. And yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, all the data. They also have the measurements of the mouse in general. Just to compare, or just to talk about sizes, it's really M. It's not L. It's not for XL hands, and basically it's just for, I think, for the most wide or for the most people playable with S to ML hands, but if you have really L hands, it will be hard to grip for you, to be honest. Let's open the box at first. Basically it comes sealed with stickers. Here on the side they are on the side here. Like always, Xtrfy is doing the standard box they have. It's here the mouse is in when you get it delivered. Here you have two keycaps, one says GG, the other one says Xtrfy. And if you open up this, like, you will have this stuff in here, like a booklet, an extra set of PDF feeds of skates. One thing I can tell you, if you want to have the sensor ring, guys, it's only one time there, because it's not assembled on the first stage. You have to do the sensor ring your own, so there's only one sensor ring. You will not have two, so there will be not one on the mouse already when you get it out of the box. So one sensor ring only, guys, keep this in mind please. I installed the sensor ring because I think it's necessary for the force reduction and for the overall weight management, or for how the weight is spreaded out to the, or in generally spreaded on the glides. The next thing is they have this Xtrfy sticker. This Xtrfy sticker I had already on my first Xtrfy product like 4 years ago. They never changed it, by the way. Then you have this awesome booklet, because there's no software for this one. That's one thing I want to talk first about. When you get it out of the box, you seek for software, there is none. One thing you should do immediately when you start using any Xtrfy mouse, just upgrade the software, this firmware on the mouse. You go to the Xtrfy site, you choose your mouse, that's your Xtrfy M4 RGB Tokyo as shown here. You go down, and here on downloads you go over, and then you choose the firmware for the model you have, and then you just update this. Mostly it makes some improvements in lift-off distance and some other stuff. I think there was like some major problems on the MZ1 and they really fixed it fast with a firmware update. I can't even remember what it was because my involvement on this wasn't that deep, to be honest, because it was okay, it was a good product for me, it was made by a YouTuber, it was like, it opened up the community a lot and the abilities of, or the way people and YouTuber can reach the industry was just for me like more like an example, so a statue of what you can reach or what you can do together with YouTubers, streamers and the community. That's why I was not so much involved after. Basically they have this booklet. Booklet says you can change DPI on the downside. It's indicated by colors. It's basically like, what is it? 10 settings from 400, 800, 1200, 1600, 3200 and more. One thing I would say, or is like a recommendation from my side, you should really stop at 2600, 3400, 3200, depending on how the MCU and how the firmware software and the communication between your mouse and your system is made and done, can give you like a smoothing on the signal or on the sensor in general. And if you know like reviews from Battle Nonsense or other people who are talking about latencies of sensors and the correlation of DPI to latency, you know if you're like a CS Pro or Valorant who is playing low DPI, low sense, who's moving a lot, so who basically makes faster and longer moves with the mouse, which basically also leads to a more aim fatigue, are not so influenced by 400 dpi high latency of the sensor than people who are using fingertip grip and playing high DPIs with high sensitivities. Because latency, the latency problem between 400, 800, 1600 dpi is basically or mostly measured only on slow, low and micro correction movements. So when you do a fast long way with 400 dpi, latency is basically the same than on 2600. But if you do a small, very small micro correction, latency on 400 dpi is, for example, way higher. So my tip for you, use 800, 1600 dpi. Maybe don't go over 2000, because for most of your people, then I read stuff like I get shaky hands or I get jitters or whatever. That's basically because of the sensor is scanning your pad really exactly, and depending on what hybrid pad, for example, or plastic or whatever you have, it maybe causes that you will lower your sense in-game too much, and then it will not make sense to play a high DPI because you want this DPI, you want this correct watching of the sensor, which basically is doing photos of your mouse pad, or by screening it, gives you a way better, more concrete feeling. So you can aim pixels better. It's like, yeah, just do 1600 as the top, in my opinion. If it's like feels too jittery for you, go to 800, but stop playing 400 maybe. I think you will improve, you will feel the smoothness of 8 or 1600, and there are tons of videos out there explaining this. So coming back to this, it's like, yeah, you can set the DPI down there. It's very brightly indicated by these steps. You can set the polling rate here. Polling rate is 125, 500 and 1000 Hertz. Basically 125 is around 6 milliseconds delay. 500 is about 2.4 milliseconds, and 1000 Hertz is roughly 1 milliseconds delay. One thing is that for this mouse it's totally okay, 1000 Hertz. I wouldn't recommend you to play 500 or 125 just by the delay timings. And another thing is, we don't know how high the debounce timer is set on this mouse. I will talk later about this, but just stick with 1000, guys. And if you compare this to the MZ1 has more settings, because at the MZ1 you can set more things than you can do on these two normal models, on the M42 and on the M4. The next really big, really important next 2.5 pages is just about RGB, guys. As I said, the DPI button is down here. Normally we know DPI button is here on top, but this time this is the RGB button. That's most important. Basically you can switch different RGB mods here with this and with combination of pressing this button and mouse 1 and 2 and the side buttons, you basically can influence this. By pressing DPI left button, you influence the speed of the RGB. By pressing DPI the right side, you influence the color, and by pressing DPI and side button in front or in the back, in the front it makes it brighter, in the back it lowers the light. So that's just the mouse and the box I've talked about. One thing is I really have to talk about, if you saw my HSK video, I was talking about quality issues, quality controls, basically on the glides, and now there's like I can show you that no manufacturer is aware of this. It's basically we have the same problem here. This glide here in front, it's not very even. On this side here, it's standing a little bit up, and here it's it's like yeah. So it's just not even. And that's not that they have a bad quality control or it's just issues. That's just a mass product, you know. That's like the glides. They have millions of glides. They are made from a very big one, and these glides are just basic glides, you know. That's not in Tiger Arc Ice, or that's not in Corpad. That's not in PB Boy Ceramic. That's not in skate where you pay €12 for. That's basically a skate which costs in production below 5 cents. That's why they sometimes are not that good. And on this one, you can feel on the Black Aqua Control, which is basically the same roughness than an Aqua Control plus Black Galaxy, which is the hardest Aqua Control you can get, which is in general like an old polycarbonate control pad. So a little bit plastic feeling on this one, on this hybrid pad. You feel like it is a little bit scratchy in the front due to these glides, but basically the glides are totally okay. If I compare this to the MZ1 glides feel a little bit smoother, but on the MZ1 you pay $20 more for this. Keep this in mind. So basically the glides are totally okay. You have replacement glides. If you really want to play this on a higher level, you would just change the glides. You will get thinner glides because of the lift-off distance, or you get just Ice, Tiger Arc, something like that. Because you're enthusiast anyway and you just want to have the best glides possible on this mouse. So one thing I want to talk about is which is one of the major selling points besides of the RGB, is just the coating. It's the first M4, which is like not matte, which is like really glossy coated. I think you can see it here. And it feels like, if you go over the holes, feels like a little golf ball. It's basically, that's the only coating I have in mind when I touch it. Feels a little bit like a golf ball. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty different feeling. And they also made it really good. They have like those Japanese signs there, and they just changed these RGB thing down here. Normally it says Xtrfy, and now I think it says Xtrfy, something like that, just in Chinese. I said Chinese and Japanese, sorry guys. And on the bottom it just says which number you have. I have like number 3701 out of 5000, so it's limited to 5000 worldwide. And we just ordered it on the same day it was released, and in total it cost us like €80 or a little bit over €80 to have it here, which is basically, in my opinion, for the mouse very expensive. We were only able to buy it at the Xtrfy shop, which is only accepting credit cards, which is for German or Euro, I don't know. Normally we use PayPal or something like that, you know, but it was okay. So we just bought it. Coating is very good, but if you have like sweaty hands, guys, it's nothing for you. If you use magnesia or caulk or something to keep your hands dry, it's okay, because there are also no grips inside, and I don't have grips here right now to try to fit them, but there are no grips inside, so it's just it's It's not for total sweatness for the ultra clutches. The paracord, as I said, is very good. The sensor is the 3389. We talked about this already. Very good sensor, very common, very widely used. The weight of the mouse is very high. As I said, it's 69 grams, and they say it's ultra light out of the box. But one thing you guys need to have in your mind when we talk about ultra light, that there is like that there's like Logitech. Who's calling this one the Logitech G Pro Wireless Super Light, which is 61 gram in general. So why is the super light and why is a heavier wired mouse ultra light? And why there is a wired counterpart from G-Wolves out there, which is only a little bit smaller. It's not, I think you can see it, it's only a little smaller, but it weighs 20 gram less than this one. Yes, it has also DPI and report rate switch, so you can switch it. It has side buttons, it has a scroll wheel. Okay, it has basically only it has 0 RGB for now. Yes, it's smaller, but it's also honeycombed, you know, guys. And how can this one weigh 20 gram less than this one and cost basically the same or a little bit less if you can get it for a fair price? I have no idea, but that's just for you guys to keep in mind. I don't want to bang or bash anymore about weights. I just want to talk about slogans of companies who do advertisement. That's not super light. Super light would be, in my opinion, less than 50 or less than 45 grams. This would be super light. Let's say 50 grams super light and 45, between 40 and 45 would be ultra light for me. For a S to M or M sized mouse with a cable. So let's continue. Next step we will land in is like these switches. There's one major thing I want to talk about. If you are a very known manufacturer of gaming products, keyboards, headsets, mice, mouse pads, everything else, I think you have a very, very good producer over there in China or in Taiwan, wherever you let it, they will produce it for you. I have no clue where they do it, to be honest, and I did not research this. One thing is what I really don't understand, why using still Chinese Omrons 20mm. Okay, they don't use the DFs, which are basically the ones who are wearing down the fastest as much as I expired, or no, they're using OFs, which is just another thoughting or another way the contaction or the inside is made. Let me say it this way, like the inside is made. But why not using like a good Kale or pre-sorted Kale 890 like Endgame Gear is doing? Why not something special? It's your limited edition, limited Tokyo edition, 5,000 pieces. Let's take a special switch, make it more interesting for people to buy. That's one thing I really don't understand. So Omron 20mm, basically click feeling, I have to say, is totally okay. It's nothing special. It just feels like Omron 20mm, like always. Yeah. It's not very loud on click. Yeah, it's totally okay. Side buttons, in my opinion, like you can see here, they are very good, a good mate. They have a little pre-travel, like 1mm, but in general, they feel very responsive, very clicky. They are not wobbling, so they're not loose or something. They're for the position, how they're made. Normally, I don't like it when they're on the edge to the click or to the top shell. They're pretty good made. The construction behind this is very good, but I think that's also one thing why it is so heavy, because when I see, I mean, we see this RGB here and we see there's a lot of plastic just holding the side clicks. It also makes or crosses a lot of weight, I think. But basically, just roughly said, quality here is pretty high, build quality is good. In general, it's a very solid mouse. There's no software with this, so you will not be able to set the lift-off distance like you can do on the MZ1, also not with a switch or a combination of some buttons, and you will not be able to influence the debounce time, and I did not found, or I'm not able to find to which debounce time it is set, to be honest. Also here there's like no real information about what the lift-off distance is, so I don't know. It only says how many CPI, DPI polling, that's all. So it would be very interesting for me to know what is the LOD and what is the debounce time of the clicks. So last thing is, or one major thing is the paracord. I took out the MZ1 here. I took out the only mouse from the only stock mouse I have, which is not an MZ1 from Xtrfy, the M42 on black. I only made a review in German to this. I'm sorry guys, but at this point I did not make made English reviews. And I just here have one of the latest G-Wolves. That's only for comparing paracords, guys. I can tell you, just by stock paracords, this is one of the best stock paracords I've ever seen, to be honest, just how it's made. And basically, if you read this, it would say for you, if you know about the MZ1, that the MZ1 and this one have the same paracord, this Ease Pro paracord from Xtrfy, but I can tell you it's not the same. One thing is that if you compare those two paracords here, you maybe can see that is the red one. It's not just by the color. The red one, the weaving around the cable, it's just a little bit more loose, and because of the looseness, like the stitching, how it's woven, it's not that tight. It's more soft, and you can see that it's like a little bit more like, yeah, it's just a little bit loose, and this reduces also the stiffness of the cable inside. So on the MZ1, it's very stiff made, it's very tight, and that makes it a little bit less flexible than this Ease paracord, to be honest. So I think for me, or just by what I have here, I have to say, and if we just compare to the very stiff M42 one, that's very, very stiff. That's stiffer than the one on the skull. The skull is a little bit better, a little bit more loose, to be honest. Just to compare it by, if we just use the cable to make this, the M42 with the old stock paracord, which basically was the same paracord which was on the M42 before, it's just very influenced by the stiffness of this cable and can get moved very easily by the cable, or so the stiffness will influence your movement in general, also when you use a mouse bungee. But here the stiffness is very loose. Basically the cable is so good made, and the weaving and the paracord in general, that is basically, there's only a very, very low chance or a very low overall influence on your aim and on your mouse movement. So the paracord is made very good. But one thing I realized, or what I saw, there was like some Twitter posts some days or weeks ago where like people are complaining about the stress relief outside and inside of the MZ1, where cable get broken fast, because cable comes in over the stress relief and directly goes to one side here. It's like super hot. It's like made like this. It's like 90 degrees, like pop, on a very, very small room. And this is the point right now where the cables are break right now, and people are complaining about it. And then I was watching this one, and we now make you a close-up of this hole. And what you see on this close-up, on this picture in the hole, is basically the shielding and the isolation is just like broke up. These metal wires you saw just from the shielding gets or protects the inner wires, so the inner cable lines, separately from influence of magnetic and electric fields, which basically helps your signal to get not compromised by some stronger fields, like a very thick cable from your PSU or whatever, or in your wall or whatever. So the signal get not influenced when it's moving out of the mouse to the computer. So you see the shielding was broke up and open, and there's like this little shrink cable you do over normally when you put wires somewhere, like an electric can, and you just shrink them down with some heat. And just it looks made very poorly. It's directly after the stress relief, and I think for this price there's no point. Quality control should let pass a mouse with this flaw. It's just a real big flaw in my opinion, which can lead very fast to an exhausting of the cable, which leads to an breach, or to basically just that the cable breaks on directly this point, or before or after the stress relief, There's no way you can, or I would sell this, to be honest, and I have no idea if I'm the only one. If someone of you have this mouse and also sees this, please let me know in the comments. Yeah, that's basically it. I wouldn't say it will fit for people with M-size hands for fingertip grip, but it's very good for decent claw and palm grip. The ergonomic is very unique, to be honest. It's the only mouse I have with this ergonomic. Feels very good. The thumb rest is awesome. The pinky rest could be a little bit bigger. So for me, that's a very decent, just overall casual gaming mouse. I know some people playing this competitive. If it fits for you, it's a very good pick also. But if you just want to play the forum and you install a different paracord anyway, stick with the black one of this. Save these 20 to 30 euro, which just cost extra. And have fun with this mouse. There's nothing I really have to say which is really bad on this one, because build quality is awesome. It has some flaws. I told you the flaws, like it's the shielding around the cable inside of the mouse. That's the glide. Maybe the clicks also not the best, but yeah, it's not a bad mouse. It's a very decent product. A little bit too heavy in my opinion, but if you like this, if you fits your setup, if you're like a Tokyo anime, manga, whatever guy, hentai bro, maybe for hentai it's not the right one, but I don't know what you want to do with it. Basically you can use it. It could fit your setup, your desktop, your PC, whatever, very good. RGB is on, bro. There's like, that's RGB market leader, no cap. Yeah, have fun with the mouse. Thanks for watching. If you want to know anything about this mouse, or maybe I forgot something, or some stuff I mentioned was wrong, just let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching anyway. See you on the next review, guys. Bye.